Hey, it's Brett and Coach here, and today I am at Corridor Brewing for some pizza and to try all of their beers as well. So let's jump into it and order a flight. And keep watching to see what made me say this. I think I just lied to y'all. Corridor Brewing is located in the Southport neighborhood of Chicago, close to the Brown Line stop, as well as it is one of 3 breweries by the same overarching company. There is Corridor Brewing, Dry Hop in Lakeview, and then Crushed by Giants downtown. The brewery itself focuses on mainly hazy IPAs and self-described as funky saisons. But besides just the beer, they are kind of known for their pizza too, and is very much a local favorite spot, especially in the summer because they have the windows open as well as a full patio. Brian and I both ordered a flight, which is something that they do here, where they actually do the top 6 beers on their current menu, and that's just a set price, so you really get to try everything on the menu, majority at least, to start off with. And I would say the vibe in here is almost hipstery, but not in a pretentious way. I really like the bare brick walls. They have more of a old style record player for their music system, and mixed with all the draft beers, it's just this kind of fun. Let's get this tasting started. This is Maroon's Razor, which is a Helles lager. It smells like beer, so I think that's a good sign. It's a lager, beer-flavored beer. 6 out of 10. It is actually specifically a German lager that says it has notes of sweet barley and biscuit. This is Nomakai, which is a Japanese rice lager, and it says it has notes of lemon and tea. It does have a slight floral aroma to it. It's very subtle. It's not the biggest punch of flavor, but it's still pretty delicious. I would give it a 7. This is Wizard Fight, an American IPA. It says it has notes of passion fruit, peach, and grapefruit. Definitely hoppy and floral. I wish it had more of a punch. I'd probably give that a 6 as well. 4th is a red IPA called Red Line, named after Chicago's Red Line, obviously. Has a great reddish color to it. I don't think it's anything to write home about. I'd probably give it a 5. I would drink it, but it doesn't have a whole lot of tasting notes. It's St. Patrick's Day, so I understand the color, the whole red Irish thing. Speaking of Irish, this is an Irish stout called Foggy Dew. I imagine it's going to be Guinnessy. Definitely smells like Guinness. Guinness, if it was actually decent, is what I would say about it. I would probably give this a 7. It would be a good way to warm up for sure. And lastly is another hazy IPA. This one is Van Hazen. Specifically, it's called For Unlawful Carnal. It is actually the 9th iteration of this beer, according to the menu. Doesn't have a strong scent either. It's subtle. It's fine. I'd probably give it a 6.5. Overall, I don't mind them. First off, the lager. Yeah, it's a lager. I'll give it a 6. The rice lager. Ooh. Slight different taste than the first one. I like that one a bit better. I would say 6.5. The American IPA. More hoppy, a little more of a bite. I'll say a 7. The red IPA. A different kind of a bite. It's okay. 6.5. The Irish stout. Kind of as expected, but that's also quite good. I give that a 7. And lastly, the hazy IPA. That's more my take. I like this. 7.5. Good range of beer, good flavors in all of them. Nice little variety. I'd say it's a great flight. Yeah, I would say Brian enjoyed them much more than I did. I think his ratings were consistently higher by at least 1 or 2 points for almost all of them. So it just goes to show everyone has a different palate when it comes to beer. But honestly, you really could not ask for a better location. The Southport Corridor always has a ton of foot traffic, and being close to a CTA stop, they've made a really smart business move opening up here. To me, Corridor is very much known for their pizza, but they do have a bunch of appetizers as well as a bunch of handheld foods on the menu, so you can really get anything that you're looking for, pizza or bar food. Everything that I've ever had here was delicious. Granted, I've only had the appetizers and pizzas, but those are worth showing up. even if you aren't the biggest beer drinker. We are very thankful for today that we were just able to walk in and immediately get a seat. There have been times where we came here that the wait was 45 minutes plus. So it being a holiday weekend in Chicago and getting a table instantly, maybe the luck of the Irish is working on us, or maybe I need to buy a lottery ticket or something. I've only ever been here for dinner, and that's why we're here today, but they do have a full brunch menu as well as a full cocktail menu, even though we've only ever had the beer here. So if you aren't really much of a pizza person, which is kind of unheard of, they do have a brunch menu that you can check out too. Pizza order placed, and we are slowly working through our flights. Brian is drinking significantly faster, but I think I'm more focused on video content while he has a bit more time to focus on the beer. I think the beer is growing on me as I drink them, and they do say that they specifically made these beers and the menu to go together, so hopefully with food, they'll be even better. And with how the brewery is kind of set up, you may come here once, have a good set of 6 beers, and then come back in 3 months and in the flight have 6 completely different beers. They are constantly innovating, changing, putting out new beers, so you can really get a new experience every time you come. And Corridor's beers are award-winning, so that's also a good thing to know, and it just shows how good they actually are. We got 1 pesto both worlds, added chicken in the hot honey, and the other one is just their classic pepperoni, also added the hot honey, and we decided to split each one so we each get 3 slices so we can share and get a little bit of each. So this pizza has pesto, chicken, onions, mushrooms, tomatoes, and the hot honey with some chili flakes. I've taken a couple bites of the pesto pizza. Has a really good spice to it. The pesto is nut-free, so if you are allergic, that is a good thing. You can still have it. I would say this is a very chunky pizza, and I would recommend eating it actually with a fork and knife, just because the crust doesn't always hold everything, but still delicious. I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. I would say the hot honey for an extra $1 is definitely worth it as well. We both finished our flights. Those are wrapped up, but we are getting a 10 ounce of 2 other beers that are not a part of the flight to really check off everything on their menu. Besides, obviously, cocktails and wine, and anything that they add to their beers. Because they have like an Irish coffee with their stout, adding coffee liqueur to it, as well as taking one of their beers and turning it to more of a Aperol Spritz type drink. So this is a Bach called the Music Bach of Horror. Obviously, at least to me, a riff on the Music Box Theater found in Southport. I love this color. This has the most notable scent of the night so far. Fruity meets floral meets complex, dark, and deep. So I'm excited for this, even though Bachs aren't usually a go-to for me. Really smooth. I actually probably enjoy this the most. I would probably give it a 7.5 or an 8. But next up is another stout called Das Coffee, which is obviously coffee forward. It smells like a good coffee house, so that's a good sign. This puts the other stout to shame. Blows it out of the water. It has a nice vanilla creaminess to it, really smooth, great flavor. It's like you can taste the coffee beans in it without that weird metallic taste that I feel like a lot of stouts have. I know I just said the Bach was probably the winner of the night. I think I just lied to y'all. I'd give this an 8 solidly.
So my take on the Bach. It's very smooth, nutty. That's probably a 7. Let's see how this one is. Good smell of coffee on that. Let's give it a taste. That's what I think a dry stout should taste like, where it actually's got some flavor to it, and you can actually feel it on your tongue, versus the one in the flight, which is just straight through, not much taste. Of the beers for tonight, yeah, this I think is the winner for me, so I'm going to say 7.5.
So I had the pesto, now let's try the pepperoni. Now that I've tried both pizzas, Here are my thoughts. The pesto both worlds. It is a little chunkier than I normally would like. With that being said, it does feel heartier. The crust is the same on both. Has a really good chew and pull to it, especially for like artisan thin crust. It's not overly doughy or overly cooked. I think it does strike a balance in between the two. The crust for this style of pizza, I'd probably give it a 9. Toppings to sauce to crust ratio, I think the pesto both worlds gets a 6.5 on ratio. I think toppings are a little high, cheese is a little low. For the classic pepperoni, it hits it right. There's just enough basil to get that bite. The meat is well done, crispy but still soft. Enough cheese to really get a nice pull if you want it. And I think it's not too crusty, not too overdone. I personally prefer the pepperoni, but I think both of them are delicious and you really can't go wrong with either. For the pepperoni ratio, I'd probably give that a 9. It is way up there. I would probably give the pepperoni overall an 8. The pesto both worlds, probably a 6.5. Happily have both again. Both are well cooked. I would also give them both 8s. I do wish that they were maybe slightly longer, but that's being pretty nitpicky, and I think the value is solid for them. You do get enough food that if you do order one, you may have a slice or two left over, but you'll definitely be full, especially if you have beer. And for Brian's full pour to wrap up the night, he got the Van Hazen. And I got the Spaghetti, which is their take on an Aperol Spritz with Aperol, lemon, and their lager. Brian did get a beer that we already had, but I got a cocktail / beer called Spaghetti. It's not too sour. It's not too bitter from the Aperol. It's not too lager focused. It goes down really cleanly. I would probably give it a 7.5. And with pizza almost completed, halfway through my final drink, I think I'm going to wrap up this video here. Great service, great pizza, solid beer. Can't really complain too much, but otherwise, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below if you've ever been to the Southport Corridor. Make sure you hit like, and this has been Brett and Coach, and I will see you next time in Coach.